that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 982. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. And it's Mike Matthews with Hayley, who's got a delicious, some sort of throat lozenge.
It's a mint.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Today, it's Canadian singer-songwriter Ed Roman in the finale.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Of my chat with him and some more music from him. And we have band Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hayley, I'm so happy. Don't you know? Because oil prices have fallen to a 7-year low. That takes us back to 2009. Wait, no, it doesn't. When Obama took over the show, as in the presidency, and I was living in Alabama, yo. Way down yonder in the land of cotton, where good times there are not forgotten.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Look away, look away, look away, Disneyland. Because you're too expensive to go to. And I don't have any kids.
Mike's
And
Daily
I'm not an Arrested Development
Podcast.
man like other people I know and work with and have commented on before. I just make funny voices on my podcast. Hayley.
Yeah.
Rich people charitable thing. Go.
Oh, they released like the list. It was, what website was it? Do Something?
Do something.
DoSomething.com released like the most charitable celebrities of 2015.
Oh, okay. And that's like Do Something's been around a while. Remember when they put out a CD with Taco Bell?
Nope.
And it was like how you can help out your community.
Nope.
And on the CD there was great music like I know a place, I'll take you there.
I'll take you there.
And Andrew Shue from Melrose Place was one of the people promoting it.
I'll take you there.
And now it's a website.
Yeah, it's a website. They released like the of 2015 the most charitable celebrities. And we are well acquainted with the number one celebrity on this podcast because we happen to talk about them quite a bit. Can you guess who it was?
The most charitable, and we talked about them, and it was no.
Well, it's our old friend Taylor Swift, of course.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She's the most charitable.
Yeah, well, she got on there because she donated to, there was a Philharmonic or like a community orchestra in Seattle that she donated to this year, but the big contribution was her newest single.
Wildest Dreams.
Yeah. It didn't get too big, interestingly enough, and it wasn't connected to an album as far as I'm aware.
What? No. Yeah, it's on 1989.
No, it's not Style, if that's what you're thinking of.
No, the song. Are you talking about Wildest Dreams? Wait.
Oh, it was another one. Unfortunately, my phone closed it, so I can't pull up what it is.
Damn you, phone!
But she took the profits from that song and she donated it to New York schools.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That's nice of her.
And right below her on the list, I'm doing the top 3. Number 2 was Laverne Cox, who's gotten a lot of media attention this year, of course.
Right, Laverne Cox.
From her popularity within Orange is the New Black. And she's done a lot of charitable work and activism work.
And I love Activision too. Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
But her activism, interesting.
Yeah. And number 3 was Beyonce.
Oh, she's delicious. Mm-hmm. Or whatever that other word is.
And Beyonce and Jay-Z were trying to pull their money together to buy the rights to the Confederate flag, I think, this year.
No.
Yeah, so they could ban it. The rights were like worth a little bit over half of their net worth, I think.
Oh.
So I don't think they did it, but there's definitely news they were trying.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. So, the Confederate flag, we definitely have our opinions on it that we don't really like it.
Yeah, it's
and I mean, yeah, we're two Californians that didn't grow up. I don't see though. I mean, historically, you look at it, and there was a different flag that the Confederacy was going to use anyway before the Confederate flag. And so to say that this is the one true flag...
Well, it was when the fighting was going on. It became the one that represented the Confederacy, you know? Right,
but mostly post World War, Civil War, and all the ceremonies and everything, they would bring out this flag, so the symbolism became even stronger and stronger, to honor the fallen, etc. Yeah, it just... Yeah. Oh, but we'll just ignore all the people that it offends.
Yeah. Why would we pay attention to that?
It's just their problem.
They're not American enough.
They can't handle the truth. Yeah.
The only true Americans are us Confederates.
Speaking of racists, Donald Trump wants to keep Muslims out of America.
Yeah, I heard, just permanently.
So whenever anybody introduces Donald Trump, it should be mandatory. You say racist, bigot, orangutan hair.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Just always, I mean, yeah, you can throw billionaire in there. Okay, whatever. But it's kind of, the other three have overshadowed his billionaire-ness. All the money in the world can't hide what a dark, evil soul he has.
True.
Donald Trump, 2016. I mean, even Kasich said he's not going to make it.
I hope not.
At some point, the Americans are peoples.
Yeah, they're not. No, that's the thing. Like, we can't just assume. We have to actively work to be astute and make sure he does not rise to power.
By not voting for him.
By not voting for him, by actively continuing to talk about how he is racist and his ideas are wrong and he's a horrible person.
Because I was saying to stop talking about him, but the thing is, he's not going to go away.
No, and you can't stop talking about him because there's always going to be someone that does talk about him.
Yeah.
It's like talking to your kids about drugs. If you're not going to talk to them, who will?
True. What's that thing that you have that says whenever Donald Trump is mentioned, it mentions one of his quotes?
It's an extension on the Google browser. It'll, whenever Donald Trump's name pops up, it puts a quote in between the words Donald and Trump. So it'll be like, Donald, I'm sure some Mexicans are nice, Trump. Or Donald at Betty Midler is a very unattractive woman, Trump. Just stuff like that.
So, why don't we take the show on a political bent right now?
Sure.
Since we haven't talked politics yet. That was supposed to be a joke, and gas is low, but you don't use gas. You are the most un-gas using person on the planet because you use your Razor to get to the bus to get to the work.
It's a scooter. It's not a Razor scooter anymore.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah.
So it's a scooter?
It's just a scooter.
I admire how you're able to, because I've gotten on one of those and I've broken my neck several times, and I'm dead, and I'm a zombie talking to you now.
That's why your hair fell out.
That's right. On my head. It's all going on down here.
I didn't need to know that.
I've got so much hair, it hurts right now. It's under my shirt. It's pulling my shirt apart, the hair. Well, you told me all about your throwing up last show.
That's true.
Hey, I'd like to apologize. During my interview with Ed Roman, I kept smacking my lips. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, like that. And it stops about halfway through the interview, but I'm like, what was I doing? I don't get, like, Ed Roman makes me want to salivate, I guess. It's strange.
It's creepy.
Because of his music and creativity. So, the other thing I want to talk about was Disneyland's expensive. Do you ever go to Disneyland? Have you ever been to Disneyland?
I've been to Disneyland. I don't like the crowds.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it with the crowds and all the children and the heat, because it gets hot down there. And then Disneyland is, like, entirely concrete. And so all the heat, like, just stays there on the blacktop in the parking lot and drips into the park, and then there's people everywhere and they're just contributing to the heat. And and then you go on the
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Mr. Toad ride.
Oh,
and
awesome
there's a part
ride.
where they just heat it up, and it just makes it worse.
Did you watch that Danger Dolan? I think it was Danger Dolan about the strangest things in Disneyland, and one of them is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride because you end up in hell at the end.
Yeah, that's the place that they heat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little demons are jumping up and down.
Yeah.
That's such a... And that ride is old because I was a kid on that thing, and you know how old I am.
Yep.
So it's...
He's old, kids.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, that I'm old. And then that ride...
What?
When I was a little...
What were we talking about?
Okay.
I need my nap.
Speaking of old, Jay Sekulow.
Jay Sekulow.
So
I still don't think very many people who listen to this podcast know who Jay Sekulow is.
Oh, okay, then you're very fortunate people. Because he is so... His whole show... So his show yesterday, which I had to catch because I work at that station... was him complaining that about Obama's speech because he gave a speech and he's talking when he should be doing something. No, wait, presidents do speeches. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And so you can't yell. He complains about every little thing. So what the world should do, what karma should do is what I'm saying, is that it should come back on Jay Sekulow that everyone should nitpick everything he does. Because that's all he does. That's his...
You mean like we do on our podcast?
Let's nitpick him.
Let's nitpick him.
Well, then, I think everyone should know, even though they don't know this guy, his solution to everything is sign a petition. He is the most conservative, right-wing idiot, yet he does something that you see a lot of liberal people do with their little petitions out in front of Trader Joe's. Can you sign here so that we can outlaw GMOs or whatever? I've signed things in front of Trader Joe's.
Can you sign here so that we can build a bridge? I've had that happen for me.
Oh, build a bridge?
Yeah. We need to build a bridge.
Building a bridge to my heart?
Yeah, I think it's like, well, my ex-wife broke up with me, and can you sign this petition so I can build a bridge back to her?
Interesting thing. Was she your ex-wife before she broke up with you? Or did she then become your ex-wife?
Yes.
Here's another... Oh, so Jay Sekulow... I just love saying his name. I love him. I want to cuddle with him.
Jay Sekulow. And don't forget his son, Jay Sekulow.
Yeah. Whatever his name is. He sounds so lost when he hosts the show. Because he's...
My dad is sitting on the steps of Washington right now, and I'm here doing the show. My name's also Jay Sekulow, because my dad's a pompous, conceited
F8. And yeah. Signing petitions is his thing. We are asking you to sign a petition to tell Obama to stop ISIS. Yeah, what do you think the whole freaking world is doing,
and
idiot?
Then he does, and then like he says that, right? He's like, Obama needs to confront ISIS and realize it for the threat it is, and take action. And then the speech happens, and Obama's like, I'm Obama, and I say, we are going to take down ISIS. Jay Sekulow's like, no, why would you say that?
So there's a group called Kids in the Hall. They were a Canadian...
Cars for Kids?
Cars for Kids is a different thing.
Oh.
Kids in the Hall was a comedy...
Boys in the Hood?
No.
New Kid on the Block.
Similar names. All of them very confusing. Kids in the Hall, a bunch of Canadian comedians, and they do skits, right? This was Lorne Michaels put it together, produced it. And one of the things they did was this waiter is helping this table, and this guy at the table is complaining like Jay Sekulow over every little thing, and the guys and the waiter's trying to help him, saying, "Well, okay, sir, I'll help you. You know, I'll go get back that. I'll return your soup." And meanwhile, the customer's like, "No, that's not what I said. I want the soup returned." And he's like, "Right, I want." And Brian McCulloch plays this crazed customer,
right?
And he just brings it to this level. Totally Jay Sekulow. Like, you cannot please this guy. If your name is Obama, you cannot please Jay Sekulow, nor should you want to.
If your name is Obama, if your name is Boehner, if your name coincides with the name of a politician, you're screwed.
I just want to say, though, that Jay Sekulo's money is made on the fact that Obama exists. If there was no Obama, Jay Sekulo would be a poor man like I am.
Well, no, he was probably doing the same thing with Bush or whoever was speaking.
No. Jay Sekulo would not touch Bush.
Probably not, but Jay Sekulo's been around long enough.
He went after Pelosi.
Yeah.
Everyone went after Pelosi. I had a conservative Irish guy say to me, you know how we blow up people in Ireland on buses? We need to blow up Nancy Pelosi on a bus. That's what he told me. I'm like, what did you just say?
Specifically on a bus.
But I remember when he said Nancy Pelosi, the way he said it was awesome.
Nancy Pelosi.
Finally, Jar Jar Binks isn't going to be on the next Star Wars.
I'm sad.
Were you a fan of Jar Jar Binks? Banks? Banks or Banks? Binks?
That's Tyra Banks.
Tyra Banks.
Jar Jar Banks, America's next top Jedi.
Very good, my friend. Bravo. Wow, how you just spun that so well. Like gold. You were spinning braids of gold.
Like in Rumpelstiltskin.
That's what I was thinking of.
God, that story freaks me out.
That guy was an evil man. Mm-hmm. Didn't they put him in that show once?
Oh, Once Upon a Time?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't...
You watch it?
The version of the fairy tale that I read, I've never seen a good representation of it, because in the story that I read, she's like on she's kind of locked up, on the top floor of the castle or wherever. And she's stuck in the storage room with a wooden floor. And so on the third day, after this woman...
How's that mint, by the way?
What?
How's the mint?
It's good.
Is it still holding its flavor?
Yeah. It's one of those chocolate and mint ones, the after dinner ones.
I love those.
Those are good. I ate the last one, so, whatever.
Oh, damn. Okay, go ahead. So she's on the floorboards.
Yeah, well, after the third day, and she snuck out into the forest, and she heard Rumpelstiltskin being like, I'm gonna eat your baby, my name's Rumpelstiltskin, so that she can guess Rumpelstiltskin's name. The version of the story tale that I am most acquainted with, once she says Rumpelstiltskin's name, Rumpelstiltskin starts screaming, "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" Slams his foot on the ground so hard that he breaks through the floor, falls down 3 floors, and dies.
Whoa. That's so graphic. Mm-hmm. Kids must love that story.
I loved it. Freaked me out, but I loved it.
I loved, when villains dissolved, when the Wicked Witch melted. I thought that was the awesomest thing.
Nah. I like when their necks get broken or something.
You want some real violence. And finally, Chipotle.
I will continue to eat Chipotle, honestly.
I will say, though, last time I went, I had such a bad experience, I called them Chipotle. And just the way they were making the food, it was just so sloppy. I can totally see E. coli, flying all over the place.
You could just see it in the air.
I could see it flying. And then
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
But that wasn't in that part.
E. coli. And I remember,
don't worry. How could I ever forget? Yeah.
First time.
The last time we ever met. No, it was all business people, too. And guys with their ties flipped over their shoulder because they don't want to get their tie dirty.
Oh, I love it when they do that.
And everybody getting the damn burrito bowls.
They're good.
Eat a freaking... Oh, you can't do gluten.
I get the tacos.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I think you get more meat with the tacos.
How can you...
3 crunchy tacos.
The crunchy's okay for you?
Yeah.
You can't because of the
corn
gluten?
tortillas.
Oh, corn.
Mm-hmm.
No gluten. Finally, you can listen to this podcast all kinds of places. Mike's Daily Podcast, coffee.com, bagels. No, wait, that's the dating website.
Really?
Kevin and I were talking about that coffee bagel, because that girl that I had coffee with, that I met at the dog park, you'll meet her at the 1000th party, 1000th episode party, because I interviewed her at the dog park.
Cool.
She was telling me about coffee and bagels and how she met her current guy, who's like a nuclear physicist.
Cool.
Now that's legit.
The website's Mike'sDailyPodcast.com, and there's the Spreaker, Stitchers,
Mixcloud, where I listen to, or Podomatic.
there we go.
Podomatic's a bit better since you can actually go backwards if you miss something.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that on Mixcloud. Or it's the other way around.
I think you're right the first time. iTunes, and then there's all kinds of social media we're on.
It's free on iTunes. I want to point that out. And if you go there, you can rate us and
Rate us, please. That helps more people
write
find out.
Write a comment that says, "Wow, they're so pretty."
Yeah, please. They are so pretty. We would appreciate that comment in the worst way. Thank you. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley will pop in at the very end, and then finally, I've attempted to say the last thing. What was it? Oh, Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
Click on that Amazon thing that you see at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com.
Buy your stuff.
All your Christmas shopping, buy there.
Yeah.
And then that way it helps us out. Mm-hmm. Oh, and if you want a special personalized MP3 for thee from all the Cafe Anyway characters, do this thing.
Mike's Yuletide personalized MP3 for thee contest.
And all you do is send us an email or comment on the Twitter or Facebook, a nice little Christmas comment of some sort, a holiday greeting, and we will send you
a holiday of your choice.
And we'll read it on Mike'sDailyPodcast.com.
A Yule greeting.
Whatever holiday you want.
Yuletide greeting. That's the
Yuletide
pagan holiday of choice.
Yes, if you're into summer solstice, what the hell? Why not? Winter solstice, I mean.
Winter solstice.
Winston solstice, where you honor Winston Churchill. American.
We have
fight him on the
nothing to fear
but fear itself.
but red Starbucks cups.
FDR was a putz. Kicked him in the knee. He didn't feel it.
He didn't. I was about to say.
What? Eleanor Roosevelt, beautiful woman. What a strapping woman.
Roosevelt.
What did she do? She had an affair with a guy who was younger.
Was that song written about?
Eleanor Rigby?
Yeah, Eleanor Rigby. Was that written about Roosevelt?
I wonder, Paul
Because
McCartney.
I know that Mrs. Robinson was written about Roosevelt. Mrs. Roosevelt.
I did not know that.
And here's to
you, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah,
Paul and Simon and Art Garfunkel.
Yeah, it was changed because they got the movie deal for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Before it came out.
You're a font of knowledge. And now the finale of my interview with Ed Roman.
Into an interview.
We're speaking with Ed Roman. He's a great singer, songwriter, guitarist. He creates craft songs. He grows plants. He's got a farm. Do you still have the farm?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be buried here. Bury me out in the field where things are blooming. You stand at a grave, and we all have in our lives, and you hear those immortal words, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. To me, that I kind of want that experience. We all have that choice. And I know other relatives that have passed and people that have requested the same kinds of things in special places. So, for me, the farm and where I am and what I'm doing is my whole life. It's where I exist. But I mean, I'm out of the house and I'm doing things and I'm touring and I've been across the U.S. from Texas to New York in the last year. So
wow,
the farm is like the grounding stone for me. It's the second highest elevation in Ontario. There's a huge limestone and quartz deposit here. It's like a huge, sometimes I wonder if there's a caloric current or something that runs underneath this area.
A what current?
Well, on the planet, there are ley lines that are known as telluric currents. They're electromagnetic currents that fluctuate from the poles, just like an amplifier inside of its output transformer. It's the same kind of thing. So it's sending off these energy vibes continually. And if you look, geomantic people that are into romancing of geology. These are the early forefathers of the United States. George Washington was a geomantic. Many of these locations and sacred sites, even into ancient culture, are all located on these points. Now, that's what's baffling to me still as a person, and I'm still trying to come to grips with how do they know this even in ancient times. And the forefathers obviously knew it because they dowsing and early ways of understanding magnetic current. And not only that, realizing that even Aboriginal cultures that have been here in North America for a long time considered these particular places sacred for a certain reason. There's a lot of spiritual activity. Even Gettysburg itself, some people theorize that there's so much spiritual activity that exists there because there's an immense quartz deposit and granite deposit that's in that area. And quartz is like a tape recorder. I mean, not only that, it's a battery source. So those things exist all over our planet, and I felt them in different... Jamaica is one of those places that, to me, I think has definitely one running right through the island or underneath it, in between Cuba and it. So it's a powerful place that when you get there, it's not like, wow, I'm on vacation in paradise. Yes, that's a big part of it, but there's something else that you feel that, you know, there's something here. And the people are impregnated by it. You can feel it from them. I mean, Jamaicans, I love them so much. I love people all around the world. But what they've taught me without really teaching me is that the Western Hemisphere, quote-unquote, in a Jamaican-style Babylon, we get so conditioned to things. Most Jamaicans, you know, don't have running water or a toilet, you know, because people don't leave the resorts to realize this. But they still are, you know, but they will have a cell phone. That's the way they stay connected to the 21st century. But ultimately, what I love about it is, and this is another reason why I want to go to Somalia and other places, culturally they still communicate one-to-one. And in the evenings, you'll find 15 or 20 people gathered around a porch, singing, playing dominoes, talking, drinking rum, and discussing serious stuff. It's not just like junk. They're very, you know, socially, politically minded people, and they can't help. I mean, look at some of the people that have come out of that country that are writers, from Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff, Bunny Wailer. There's so many people that are, you know, socially conscious on that level. So you can't help but not have it around you all the time. And I love it. It makes me feel alive again and ready to fight the good fight, if you will.
When was the first time you went to Jamaica?
In my mind, when I was 6.
Wow. In your mind?
That's like I say, in my mind. You know, you read books like Treasure Island and things like that, and you can't help but not think of the Caribbean, and then, you know, I can't help but not think of Jamaica. But my wife and I, when we met, she's back in 94, we talked about it, and yeah, I'd love to go, and yeah, and there's India, we want to go to India one day, and da-da-da-da. She hasn't been across Canada completely yet, da-da. But Jamaica was always at the top of the list. So we said, look, we haven't been anywhere in 10 years, let's go. Let's bite the bullet and see what it's like. We went to a resort, but we were never there. We quickly made friends with musicians and people that worked there, and they're like, well, come on, let's go out and see the island. And most people are like, well, you shouldn't leave the resort. You know, you should be accompanied by somebody. But this is one of the things, again, that Jamaica has made me realize is I'm tired of feeling afraid because of what somebody said and a previous experience. Because to me, it's the one bad apple in a bushel factor. And don't get me wrong, you know, being with Jamaicans, hanging out late at night, some Jamaicans will say, look, man, I don't go to Trenchtown late at night because it's dangerous. And they're Jamaicans. But, you know, people would say, well, don't go to Kingston. Well, I went to Kingston. I went with my acoustic guitar. We walked around the market, Coronation Market, the streets, you know. I played. People came. They listened. At one point, there had to have been 150 people standing around singing Bob Marley tunes with me. So that guitar made me feel, and being in those situations, again, reconnected me with who I am and not feeling afraid. So the next bunch of times we went back, we said, well, why would we do this? Why would we go to a resort? So we stay at this place that's called Real Jamaica. It's 4 little artist cabins, about 20 by 20 with a bathroom and a little kitchen in it. We cook all our own food. It's right on the northern shore of Orcabessa. It's right down the street from UB40's house and recording studio.
Wait, what? UB40 still has a house down there?
Yeah.
What?
They're there. They're hanging out all the time. It's pretty amazing.
Red wine!
And Papa Curvin, who owns Real Jamaica, he's got a full-on recording studio there, too. And there's tons of musicians that are always hanging out there all the time. So in that video that I have on YouTube for Jamaica, it's more of like a vignette than just the video, because there's little bits and pieces of me hanging out and talking with people and friends, like people that are like family now, because we're godparents to a child there. So
wow,
it's all part of our life experience, and eventually we want to build an artist retreat there, and I want to start a music school for kids.
Yeah, the video, that's like right on the front page of your website.
It is. And those kids that are in that, they're from 9 Mile. 9 Mile is the home of Bob Marley. That's in the song where he sings, I Gotta Reach Mount Zion, the highest regions. He's speaking of 9 Mile. That's the highest point in St. Anne's. And St. Mary's and St. Anne's are right next to each other in Ocho Rios. So that's pretty much smack dab in the middle of the island on the northern coast. But that's where Ocho Rios and the 8 River system, all the fresh water systems and the farming communities are all up and through the mountains. And for me, the farming and the connection to the farming thing is huge. So all that stuff that you see is like literally a 10-minute walk, a 5-minute walk, a 2-minute walk from Bob's house, where he grew up, where he lived, and where he's now buried.
And the song, did you write that while you were there?
I wrote it before, after our first couple of experiences, and it was sitting in the can, and I was like, it's going on Letters from High Latitudes. Because it's that middle kind of song. It sits closer to the center of the record. And for me, the record, the way that it's kind of put together is, it starts off with this tune called I Told You So, which is almost like you're living in the meat of the matter. And as you progress through the record, a tune like Jamaica comes up, which makes you realize there's far more beauty everywhere around you, and you need to take it in. And as the record finishes, you end up with this Earth-like perspective away from the planet with a tune like I Found God, and I'm pointing at the Earth going, hey, you know what? That's God. If that thing wasn't here, none of us would be killing each other and fighting and bickering and complaining. So you better start treating it right, because it's treating you right. So that song almost needed to be there. It was that sort of a rustic punctuation point for the center of the record. And went back and shot all the video while I was there, and then put out the video.
Ah, okay. And that's all at edroman.net?
It is.
And let's see, last time you were on, I got a bunch of Canadian history. And this time I've gotten some Jamaican history.
Okay.
I always learn something with Ed Roman.
Well, like I said, we're always learning from each other, brother. Mike, it's like it's strange how many people you meet over your life. And then sometimes you go, yeah, that's old information. I've heard that before. But hopefully your conscious is still rolling it around sometimes, and you go, wait a minute, I didn't think about it like that. Was there a specific musician that got you playing music and guitar and songwriting? I fell in love with the guitar at a really early age, and then I started playing bass, because when I was in high school, nobody wanted to do it in the band. So I started to do it. The musician that really pushed me as a bass player and a string player was Jaco Pastorius. And there's actually Robert Trujillo, the bass player from Metallica. He just finished a 3-year ordeal putting a beautiful film together that's called, I believe it's called, it's just Jaco, I think, Jaco the Film. And it sort of talks about his life as a young player, everything that he went through. And that person, John Francis Pastorius, mentored so many young bass players and pushed them, not just for their own instrument prowess, but he was one of those compositional musicians in that era that made people think a little differently about music. So he was, like, huge. And today as well, it's Jimmy's birthday. Jimi Hendrix was an immense influence, and at the same time, talking about Jamaica, Bob Marley, he still is. I listen to Bob practically every day still.
Yes, we're recording this on Jimi Hendrix's birthday, and I can't help but think that you're an influence on somebody, Ed Roman, especially there in Jamaica.
I hope so. A little bit of Ed rubs off somewhere.
So let's play the song Jamaica, and here he is, Ed Roman, on Mike's Daily Podcast.
Dude, awesome.
Jamaica.